One thing every successful individual, leader, and entrepreneur have in common is a consistent morning routine. Having a simple, easy to implement routine enables you to start your day with a sense of purpose, accomplishment, clarity, and direction. For this reason, I have prepared for you a free guide with an easy to follow 5 minutes morning routine and a tracking template where you can document your progress day by day. I've been receiving messages from some of you already telling me how this habit has transformed your days for the better. Download this 5 minutes morning routine right now by clicking the link on my show notes so you can start your day on purpose. Welcome to the With Clarity and Purpose podcast with your host, Yanet Borrego. Each week, I bring you an inspiring person or message to empower you to live life on your terms so you can be who you want to be, do what you are meant to do, and have the life you deserve to have. We will provide you with practical and cutting-edge approaches to continue getting clarity and direction on your path, mastering your mindset, and gaining confidence to tap into your inner wisdom so you can live on purpose. Hello, welcome to another episode of With Clarity and Purpose. And today we are gonna talk about the biggest threat to success. And it is not failure, definitely not. It is something else. And let me tell you a story. Back in 2021, I took a 3 weeks intensive training to become a trainer of neuro-linguistic programming, which is the techniques I use in my one-on-one coaching practice, my digital course, everywhere. These techniques have been transformational, and I wanted to get certified so I can also teach other the techniques and I can also certify others if I want. And it was also about public speaking. So the training, just big picture, it was about becoming a trainer of NLP and a speaker of influence. And I've done a lot of speaker trainings before, including Toastmasters and the John Maxwell team. And this training was the best one, really. Like, it was 3 weeks of being from 10 a.m. to almost 8 p.m. every single day. It was intense. It was nerve-wracking because there were so many times that you needed to present with just a few minutes or few hours of preparation. It was like go nonstop. So it was pretty exciting. At the moment, it felt more like survival mode. But when you hit that last day, we definitely celebrated. It was just exciting overall. And I never forget about something that our teacher said about becoming a good speaker and a good trainer. And he said, to become a great speaker and a great trainer, you have to become comfortable with repetition, because you're gonna be repeating yourself over and over in terms of the concepts, but also in terms of the stories you tell. Because there are some stories in your life that are very transformational that you want to make sure you bring those stories to your trainings or your one-on-one coaching or everything else that you're participating in. And when he said that, it made total sense for me, because I've taken so many trainers with this company, Empowerment Inc., and with this teacher, Dr. Matt James. And I've heard him say the same stories over and over. But as a listener, every time he says those stories, I'm intrigued and I feel I learned something new, because at that moment, I'm going through something different in my life, right? So same story, different meaning. As a speaker, I've always wondered, doesn't he maybe get bored of saying the same stories, of repeating himself? But when he said that, I immediately comprehended that he was adopting the mindset of I'm here for a higher purpose. I'm here to teach my students, and I teach my students through my life stories. And I have just those couple of life stories that are really impactful, and I just keep using them, right, as a vessel to illustrate a concept. So repetition, he said, it's so important for you, Yanet, for you, everyone else who was in that training, to get comfortable with repeating yourself. Because if you choose this profession of speaking and training, or even coaching, because in coaching we teach concepts, you're gonna repeat yourself over and over. So getting comfortable with that is super important. And I was finishing reading Atomic Habits. This was back in 2021 when I heard that, which made total sense. 2 weeks ago, I was finishing listening at the book Atomic Habit, and he said something that completely made me go to that moment, and it resonated so much with me. He said, the biggest threat to success is not failure. The biggest threat to success is boredom. And to me, that was like a moment where my brain exploded in an amazing, positive way. The biggest threat to success is not failure, it's boredom. And he's not referring to this boredom of, oh my God, I have to do something at work, but I'm bored and I'm gonna watch TV. This is not the boredom he's referring to. The boredom he's referring to is about the boredom of showing up every single day and do those positive habits every single day that you know that will give you a huge return on investment, because those habits have to do with your health, your productivity, physically, mentally, emotionally. How many times have you stopped a habit because it feels very repetitive? It feels like you're doing the same thing over and over. I'm raising my hand with you. I've been there. And it's this repetition that my teacher was talking back in 2021, and that James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, brought up into this, I think it was the last chapter. This repetition is what causes us boredom many times. The repetition of doing the same thing over and over, showing up in the gym and doing a 30 minutes workout, showing back up the next day and doing a 30 minutes workout. Because when you're still learning a habit, it requires some effort until you repeat it so many times that it becomes unconscious and you don't even think about it. It's just part of your lifestyle. Overcoming that mindset of, oh my God, I'm bored of eating healthy, or I'm bored of showing up in the gym, I need something different. I think the biggest threat in this area of boredom is our innate desire to want something different, to want something else. And sometimes we don't spend enough time repeating the basics to actually achieve great results. You can see this everywhere. We can see this in physical health with going to the gym. People sometimes get bored of even going to a gym, of repeating the same thing over and over. And sometimes it's because they don't see results right away. I've been going to the gym 10 times and I haven't been seeing results, and therefore I stop because this is not working. But it's not that it's not working, it's because because I've been there, we haven't waited long enough in order to get that return. But it's happening at the most molecular level. Progress is always happening as long as you continue showing up every single day. And one day when you least expect it, you are gonna have a breakthrough, because that's how it works. I give the example to some of my coaching clients about a piñata. You know, if you ever have hit a piñata, I probably did it, oh my God, when I was living in Mexico, probably was 12 years old. I don't think I have hit a piñata after that. But anyways, when you hit a piñata, you can just visualize it, or you can YouTube it if you have never seen one being hit. So you have a bat and you're hitting that piñata. The first hit, the second hit, maybe the third hit, the fourth, the fifth, nothing happens. And you're like, what's going on? Where is the candy? This is not happening. And maybe in the 9th or 10th hit, the piñata breaks completely and the candy comes out. But it wasn't that ninth and 10th hit what made the difference solely. It was all of the times you hit that piñata before. The same thing happens with our physical health, with meditating for our mental and emotional health. It's not that after the first 10 or 20 times we need to stop because we don't see a massive improvement. It is that we need those repetitions in order for one day breakthrough, that transformation that we are seeking. And not only that, even if you get to breakthrough after 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, it's important to recognize that this is a long-term process. This is a lifestyle, the one you are adopting. Something that has helped me immensely to overcome this sense of I am bored is connecting back to my why, connecting back to why am I doing this? Why am I showing up in the gym 4 or 5 times a week? Well, the highest intention is to be healthy, to feel energized. And when you connect back to that intention, then the repetition has sense. Then the repetition has purpose. And that's what we are looking for at the end of the day. I have a past podcast episode on overcoming the shiny object syndrome because this is very much related to this boredom that we feel at times. I remember 2 years ago having an amazing coaching client because all of my coaching clients are amazing. And she was meditating and she has seen significant improvement. And she was meditating, I would say like 80%, being consistent throughout the week. And after, I don't know if it was 2 months, she was like, okay, Yanet, I know how to meditate. I know how to breathe, focus on my breathing. I'm not there yet where I want to go, but I'm ready for the next technique. And I told her, okay, do you think you have mastered the basics? Do you think the basics are embedded unconsciously within you because you have completely learned them? And she told me, no, I'm not there yet. And I coach her on getting back to the basics and master them and being comfortable with repetition and being able to show up consistently a similar way every single time instead of wanting to have another technique when you haven't mastered this first one. The breathing in silence. I mean, that's the foundation of any meditation, right? Sometimes we want the next thing. We want the next big technique. We want the next big training. We want the next everything, right? The next shiny object. The reminder to break through any transformation is to master the basics and be comfortable enough with repeating the same thing over and over. And when you feel you're there for a considerable amount of time, I recommend at least 3 months. At least 3 months. And honestly, 3 months is nothing. I would say 6 months, 1 year. At least 1 year of repeating the same technique. Then you have graduated yourself to go to the next one. My uncle, which I mentioned in almost every podcast, I just realized, he was such a big role model for me. And he taught me that. He taught me, he gave me this book. He loves Osho. I know Osho can be controversial per Netflix, but he loves Osho as a spiritual teacher. I've read a couple of his books and I love him too. I think what he says is genius, amazing, brilliant. And he gave me this book that has 101 meditation techniques. This was back probably around 2013. And he told me, the most important thing, Yanet, is for you to understand what resonates with you. Not what resonates with the person next to you or another person, is what resonates with you in terms of your meditation practice. And for that, you need to practice at least one meditation technique for 3 months to see if it works or not. So if you do it for 3 months consistently and you haven't gotten the results you want, then you can transition to the other one. But he told me, I don't recommend you practicing 10 days one meditation technique and jumping to the other one, because if you're jumping from place to place, you will not have the opportunity to get in depth into a practice, to get in depth into, in this case was meditation, but the same applies to everything else, in depth into your workout routine, in depth into maybe a friendship at times, a relationship, whatever this is for you. And I'm sure as you're listening at this, you're thinking of different scenarios where this might apply. The important part is to, again, like be comfortable with that repetition and to go in depth. For example, my one-on-one coaching clients, I work with them 6 months every week because transformation requires action. Transformation requires showing up consistently. And for this reason, every single habit follows the same structure, follows the same framework. So now, after listening at Atomic Habits, I have a deeper perspective into what my teacher was saying back in 2021. The biggest threat to success is not failure, is boredom. I hope this podcast episode was super helpful for you. I felt totally identified with this concept of boredom and repetition, and it has been coming up. Like every week I am like, okay, I need to record a podcast episode about this topic. And it wasn't until now that I did it and I got the chance. So I hope this is super beneficial. And as I always say, if you found this helpful, please share it with a friend, with a family member that may benefit from these concepts and also this world of empowerment. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you deeply. Lots of love. Love you all. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening at With Clarity and Purpose. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Sharing is caring. Please share with your friends and family so we can continue building an empowered community together. I'll see you next week.